You see him on the news.
CNN.com contributor, Dean Obeidallah. So, Dean...
Watch him at comedy clubs.
When I say Mecca, do you think of a holy place or an urban clothing line?
Read his articles. And you hear him on the radio. The Dean Obeidallah Show is on live right here on SiriusXM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters of the Resistance. Friday, January 18th, I'm Dean Obeidallah. We're live for the next 3 hours. I got a packed show, some great stuff going on. Reminder, day 28 of Donald Trump's shutdown. Nearly 800,000 plus workers, federal workers, and millions of federal contractors have gone without pay for almost a month. And again, I implore you, think about your own life. If you didn't get paid for a month and you had no idea when your next paycheck was coming, and for those workers who have to go to work, you can't even get a second job because you're going to work and you're working for free. And that's all because of Donald Trump. In fact, here's Trevor Noah last night on his show talking about the shutdown. And he played a clip of Cardi B, who, if you don't know, she's a rapper. She's very funny. Just a little bit of it. It's really a funny video she put out. But here is clip number 1.
It is now day 27 of the longest shutdown in American history. Funding for low-income housing is in danger. School lunches are facing cutbacks, and things have gotten so bad that Air Force One is now being operated by Spirit Airlines. Poor Melania, she always pays for Trump's sins. Look at her, she's like, this is not best. Anyway, as you know, 800,000 government employees have not been paid. Right? The U.S. economy is at risk of sliding into recession, and now, even most concerning, the shutdown is even affecting the world of hip-hop.
Native Bronxite Cardi B now weighing in on the government shutdown.
Hey, y'all, I just want to remind y'all, because it's been a little bit over 3 weeks, okay? It's been a little bit over 3 weeks. Trump is now ordering, as in summoning, federal government workers to go back to work without getting paid. I know a lot of y'all don't care because y'all don't work for the government or y'all probably don't even have a job, but this shit is really serious, bro. I feel like we need to take some action. I don't know what type of action, bitch, because this is not what I do, but bitch, I'm scared.
That is the most amazing thing ever.
And it goes on and on. It's actually really funny. There's a lot of cursing in it. But today, Donald Trump, though, tried to get more support for his wall because every opinion poll has shown that a majority of Americans blame Trump. Only about 30%, 35% blame Democrats. Trump's approval ratings are sliding. So today, Donald Trump tried to combine his racism against Latino immigrants with his bigotry against Muslims in one tweet. There should be an award for this. He tweeted today, "We found prayer rugs out here. It's unreal." Quoting, that's in quotes, the Washington Examiner. Then he types, "People coming across the southern border from many countries, some of which would be a big surprise. They found prayer rugs. They got us. You see, Muslims, we leave our prayer rugs to mark the territory. It's like a victory prayer rug. We leave it. We own the land. That's ours. Unreal. What are we going to do next?" Actually, or could it be a border rancher who was quoted anonymously in a story? You know how Trump hates anonymous sources, but he liked this one. Do you think maybe she confused a prayer rug and maybe a small little mat that someone sleeps on? Yeah, I'm going to guess so. But it gets worse. The rancher said she saw... It's really scary. She saw Aladdin, she said, and maybe Jafar and the bird. So you got all of them there. It's a whole team effort by us Muslims sneaking over the border right now. By the way, that story itself has been reported in the past. Prayer rugs at the border. It's a debunked lie from years ago. Breitbart reported in 2014. It turned out to be, I'm not kidding, an Adidas shirt. It makes no sense. There's no Muslim devout enough to carry a prayer rug for thousands of miles just to leave it in Texas when they got to pray 5 times a day. It's not happening. But again, it's Trump just trying to converge everything together into bigotry and hate. And perhaps it was partly because of the big story. And that is the Michael Cohen story that broke last night, right after we got off the air. BuzzFeed reported 2 unnamed federal law enforcement officials who say Michael Cohen, in interviews with Robert Mueller, that Donald Trump directed him to lie to Congress about the deal that Trump was working on and negotiating during the campaign with Russia. Isn't it funny? No Russian conspiracy, but Russia keeps coming up over and over and over. If I was a conspiracy person, I'd say there's something between Trump and Russia. But no, come on. Fake news. Which one? What am I doing? It can't be. Now, according to the report that Trump allegedly directed Michael Cohen to lie to Congress in 2017 about whether Trump was negotiating with Russia during the campaign. And to remind everyone, because we'll go backwards in time, because context is so important. And context, historical context, understanding the big picture, I think helps you apply common sense to say, is something believable or not believable? It is your choice. I'm not here to make the case because I don't have the underlying evidence. I just have reporting. But to remind everyone what happened is during the campaign, Donald Trump advocated better relations with Russia. He touted Putin numerous times. He argued against sanctions against Russia over Crimea. And at the same time denied publicly over and over that he had any business dealings with Russia. He said, I had no business dealings. The last time I talked to Russia at all about any business dealings was January of 2018. And what we learned just last month was that Donald Trump was actually negotiating with Russia through June 2016. And Rudy Giuliani said, well, there was never a letter of intent signed. Well, we actually, a few weeks ago, got the actual letter of intent that Donald Trump signed personally, dated October 28, 2015, 17-page letter of intent with the Russians to build Trump Tower. So it's very simple. Politically, Trump did not want America to know he had a letter of intent with the Russians. He hid that from America. He lied to the American people during the entire campaign about that, while advocating things to help Russia and Putin. So Michael Cohen's called to testify 2017 between the House and Senate investigating this, and Michael Cohen lied. He lied to help Donald Trump. And that's the words of Michael Cohen. You can assess if it's credible or not. That's up to you. As Michael Cohen told a federal judge when he pled guilty to lying to Congress under oath, he said, I was aware of individual one, which was Donald Trump's repeated disavowals of commercial and political ties between himself and Russia. So he repeated these statements, saying to the judge under oath, I made these misstatements to be consistent with individual one, Trump, political messaging, and out of loyalty to individual one. So what happened is Michael Cohen is saying, and you have the full picture now, that Donald Trump had a letter of intent with the Russians. We all know about it now. We didn't know about it during the campaign. He's lying to the American people, saying, I have no business dealings, while advocating policies that are curious at best to our intelligence agencies about Russia. We don't know why, but he has business dealings with Russia going on through June 2016. Michael Cohen then says he lied, directed to by Donald Trump. So that's the fact scenario. So here's the law part. So what if he did? What if Donald Trump did tell Michael Cohen to lie under oath? Is there any crime there? Well, this one's actually really clear. This is a very simple one for everyone. I'll give you the federal law, not that there's any kind of test involved, just in case it comes up and someone goes, I don't think there's a law, just so you know the law involved. It's actually, as Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe tweeted today, Trump committed subornation of perjury punishable by 5 years imprisonment under 18 U.S. Code Section 1622. What is subornation, you ask yourself? That's a great question. It's a weird word. No one uses that. It's really simple. It just means you entice someone, induce someone, encourage someone to commit a crime. And in this case, it's inducing someone to commit perjury. In fact, 18 U.S. Code Section 22, which is just the federal statute, the title, aptly enough, is entitled Subornation of Perjury. And what is it? It's a really simple crime. This is a one-sentence statute. I'm not kidding. It could not be more clear. Whoever procures another to commit any perjury is guilty of subornation of perjury and shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. So it's a felony. Anything punishable by more than a year in prison is a felony. Anything punishable by less than a year is a misdemeanor. So this is a felony. So the question is there evidence to support that Michael Cohen was told by Donald Trump? Now, they have not released it, according to the reporting of BuzzFeed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not doubting it. When it comes to legal stuff, I've always said that I will give it to you very clearly, very plainly. You can make your decisions based on it. Certainly, I have my own hunch what's going on here based on Donald Trump's history. But the question is, we have not seen the evidence. And on the right, they're saying, well, Michael Cohen's a liar. Even Trump tweeted that today he's a liar. Yes, he is a liar. There's no doubt he pled guilty to lying. There's no doubt Michael Cohen's a liar. There's also no doubt that Donald Trump really was very close with Michael Cohen. He liked him so much that in 2006 actually, he hired him to be his personal attorney at Trump Organization and executive vice president. He thought so highly of Michael Cohen that when he first was running for president, thought about it in 2012, and went to Iowa, he sent Michael Cohen alone to represent him and speak in his behalf. He trusted and liked Michael Cohen so much that in 2016, in the closing months of the campaign and closing week specifically, he had Michael Cohen form a shell company to pay hush money to Stormy Daniels to silence her so she wouldn't go public with her story. You don't give someone that kind of responsibility if you don't think a lot of them. He knows everything about Donald Trump. And this is where we stand right now. To me, it's really straightforward. If Donald Trump told Michael Cohen to lie under oath, Donald Trump is guilty of a felony. There's no disputing it. There's no what about Hillary. There's no what about her emails. Not about what about Barack Obama. It's a felony. In fact, it's actually, there's another crime involved here. Obstruction of justice. And oddly enough, during the William Barr, who was Donald Trump's Attorney General nominee, his testimony just 2 days ago, Senator Amy Klobuchar read from William Barr's memo into the record in front of everyone. And I don't think she knew about this, but I think she had a sense, and I believe she's a former prosecutor, if I remember correctly. She wanted to just have him on record about what's obstruction of justice. And listen to what, and she's reading from William Barr, the guy who's going to be confirmed as Donald Trump's Attorney General. Here's clip number 2.
In your memo, you talked about the Comey decision, and you talked about obstruction of justice, and you already went over that, which I appreciate. You wrote on page 1 that a president persuading a person to commit perjury would be obstruction. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or any person who persuades another to, yeah.
Okay. You also said that a president or any person convincing a witness to change testimony would be obstruction. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So now you have more. And now just assume for this conversation that Michael Cohen is believable and there's some evidence beyond his words that Donald Trump directed him to lie under oath. You're going to have the first statute about enticing someone to lie. That's a felony. And you're going to have obstruction of justice as well, because William Barr, the Attorney General to be, just made it very clear it's obstruction of justice, which simply is any kind of improper reason to impede an investigation. And that's what it is. You're having someone lie, so you're trying to impede an investigation improperly. And it's very important, I think, in that both Richard Nixon's articles of impeachment, and he was not formally impeached, but they drafted articles of impeachment, and Bill Clinton, who was formally impeached, both dealt with this exact same fact scenario, or at least his allegation. And Richard Nixon's, and I will read, and by the way, this Article 1 of Richard Nixon's impeachment passed the committee. It never got to a full hearing, a full vote in Congress. Richard Nixon resigned. But I want to read this, and I hope it's not too wonky, because I think we might hear these words to describe Donald Trump. And I say that with all sincerity, not being hyperbolic, in the near future. Article 1 says about Richard Nixon, in his conduct of the office of President of the United States, Richard M. Nixon, in violation of his constitutional oath, faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States, to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, has prevented, obstructed, and impeded the administration of justice. In that, and then it goes into great detail about the 1972 break-in of Watergate. Then it lists specific actions they say that Richard Nixon did, which rises to a level of an article of impeachment. And this one's very interesting. Quote, approving, condoning, acquiescing in, counseling witnesses with respect to the giving of false or misleading statements to lawfully authorized investigative officers and employees of the United States, and misleading testimony in duly instituted judicial and congressional proceedings. Bill Clinton, same exact thing. Talks, same beginning thing, Bill Clinton, president, sort of the language they use to conceal evidence. And it says about Bill Clinton in an article that was one of the articles of impeachment that was voted on and approved on or about December 17th, 1997, William Jefferson Clinton corruptly encouraged a witness in a federal civil rights action brought against him to give perjurious, false, and misleading testimony when called to testify personally in that proceeding. So that was an article of impeachment. So right now, there's no doubt, if true, assuming true, I'm being fair, I don't want people to get their hopes up, but if proven, you're going to have Donald Trump guilty of a felony of obstruction of justice, guilty of a felony of suborning perjury, enticing perjury. And if you're going to believe Michael Cohen, then you're going to believe him on the other felonies of Donald Trump directing Michael Cohen to violate federal election campaign laws. Also felonies. Now, here's the thing. The House Democrats today have sort of shrugged off their fearful coil and now are going forward with the word impeachment. I'm not saying they're going to vote on impeachment. That would be irresponsible. But Adam Schiff, the new chair of the House Intel Committee, said these allegations may prove unfounded, but if true, they would constitute both the subordination of perjury as well as obstruction of justice. And Adam Schiff is a former prosecutor. Gerald Nadler, who is now the chairman of House Judiciary, where impeachment would actually begin formally, says, we know that the president has engaged in a long pattern of obstruction. Directing a subordinate to lie to Congress is a federal crime. The House Judiciary Committee's job is to get to the bottom of it, and we will do that work. So they're going to work. What's going to happen now is something we didn't see the last 2 years when the Republicans control the House. We're actually going to see Article 1 of the United States Constitution come to life, meaning Congress in the House are going to do their job to be a check on Donald Trump. Because if we did not work hard, if we did not knock on doors and make phone calls and vote for candidates and some people run for office, if we did not win the House, we'd be here screaming going, they're doing nothing. But because we won in November 2018, we are now going to see the operation of government the way intended by the framers of the Constitution. Impeachment is there. If true, it's clearly a felony. If true, it's clearly impeachable. Will it be removable in a trial in the Senate where you're going to need 20 Republicans to come over to vote to remove Donald Trump? I'm not sure. But here's where we stand right now. And there's more. Trump tweeted other things which potentially are arguably witness tampering, where Trump threatened Michael Cohen's father-in-law again today, subtly. I don't want to get into that to muddy it. If true, we are seeing the end of the Trump presidency. If true. Assuming there's enough evidence to move Republicans in the Senate. If not, perhaps Robert Mueller takes a chance, indicts Donald Trump, and have that test case finally to see if you can indict a sitting president. If you can't, I believe Donald Trump will be charged with crimes when he leaves office, meaning he will be the most dangerous president we've ever had, and I mean dangerous to us, because he will do anything to stay in office, because he knows himself and his family are in peril of losing their liberty, which means going to jail. Nothing will be off the table with Donald Trump to stay in the office, knowing that he will be indicted when he's gone. So that's where we stand. So what do you think the Democrats should wait for Robert Mueller's report? I mean, it could be a month. It could be a year and a half from now, which is not good. Do you think they should actually have impeachment hearings, actually full blown, or just have hearings now to investigate this? There's a lot. It's really pretty clear. This is not like the Federal Election Commission laws where you can argue about knowing and he's got to know he's violating the laws. No, this is different. The statute doesn't have this kind of knowing requirement. It is assumed in our system of law that if you direct someone to lie to Congress, you know you're committing a crime. Everyone knows you're committing a crime. No doubt about it. So I'd love to hear from you. 866-997-4748. You're my guest right to the top of the hour right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show. We'll take a break. Chat with you right after this.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Whoever's the next president, we should call them the 45th president of the United States. And this will go down as a dark time in America that we'll never refer to again.
SiriusXM Progress.